Hey everybody, this is Jennifer. I'm coming to you with another sales update video. Before I get started, I just wanted to talk about the death piles that everybody talks about in their videos. The piles of stuff we never really list, and it just kind of looms over our heads and it causes us a great amount of anxiety. Um, I started getting organized last year, and I think I even mentioned it in a video about, just organizing your life and, yourself as well, your health and your space around you and how important that is. And I did. I started to do it, and it was going well. And I got a storage unit, and things are better. And I got to a certain point, and that certain point had to do with those death piles. And I got rid of some of it. And then when I hit that point where I really didn't want to list the other stuff, I stopped. And that stuff has been sitting there. It was organized in a better fashion, but it was still sitting there. So I'm like, so at the end of the year, I had some stuff happen. I stopped listing, and I was just basically shipping, and I had all this other stuff going on. And when I got back to being able to really work, I came in and I see all these boxes of stuff, and I just want to ignore it. But you know, I wanted to jump into shopping again, and I wanted to jump into listing again. But I figured I really, at this point, I should deal with those boxes. You know what I mean? Like, I have to get rid of those boxes. I can't let myself go into the stuff that's more enjoyable and let those things sit here because it's just hanging over my head. And it affects your work. It really does. Because I think you make poor decisions just to avoid the elephant in the room. Um, so, what I'm doing is I am only allowing myself to go shopping once a week because maybe twice. If I go out and I do not find a thing, of course I'm going to do another day. But I need the higher dollar items, and honestly, it's not like a very difficult to find several higher dollar items in a day. You know what I mean? So that I get that batch of stuff, and so if I'm listing 10 of those items, I have to list 10 of that stuff I do not want to deal with. And if I really don't want to deal with it, it's going in a box and it's going back to Goodwill because I'm not having it sit around anymore. Because I would say if I have two storage units of, shelving units filled with stuff, that's a lot for me. I live in an apartment, you know what I mean? And I do have a storage space, but I don't want to take that up with junk either. You know what I mean? It's so basically, I'm just going to clear this out. And whenever this happens, even if I develop one box of stuff, I am not allowing myself to list the new stuff without listing that stuff. Does that make sense? So I do not want, because sometimes this happens, you're like, oh, I'm going to blow out all my death pile and I'm so proud of myself. Yay. And then next year it looks exactly the same way. Yeah. I want to create a system that those piles do not occur again. Something where, as if they start to, I have a system that it's just going to make sure that it leaves the room, that I will not allow myself to list without listing those items with it. So if I'm listing one, I have to list one of those. If I'm listing 10, I have to list 10 of those. So, and I'm also, if I'm going to those 50-cent sales, or dollar sales at the thrift stores, I'm restricting what I'm buying because that was another problem that was coming up. I was coming home with way too much stuff. Another little problem I have is I have jewelry. I have 3 or 4 jewelry boxes filled with costume jewelry that I have to figure out how to list. And, I've been doing the research. I've been watching different sellers online and how to test gold and how to test silver. And so, I got the little kit. That's great. But then I open the boxes and I see these things that look like gemstones, but are they real? It looks like amber, but is that real? So now I have another problem. And I looked up how to test gemstones, but that seems a little complicated. So and I know amber floats in salt water, but if it's in a ring or set in a necklace, so what do you do with that? If any of you guys know how to test gemstones or amber, can you please just let me know because I'm kind of at a loss. So I don't want to, if I have something that's real, I just don't want to take, $50 or $100 less because I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, if I have to, I will, and then the person getting it will be the luckiest person ever. But, if you have any information, I would so appreciate it. And one more thing I want to talk about, you guys might not do this, but I'm really bad. I find listing extremely boring. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's very boring to me. So, like, I'll do things to entertain myself. I will turn on the radio, I'll turn on the TV, and I'm thinking I'm functioning really well like that, you know? Um, and I work for Target actually, and they have a rule where they will not play music because they've done studies and how music is so distracting and, you know, noises are so distracting. I hate it. It's way too quiet. Um, However, it was interesting to me that they went so far as to take music away from people because they found it distracting. And what they found was it did streamline the experience for the shopper. So then I did research about the distraction of noise and, you know, voices and music. So it was really interesting. It was pretty distracting, and it really does affect you when you're trying to work. And I wanted to see if how true this was. So I shut everything off, and I'm like, okay, Jen, you know, you seriously have to streamline what you're doing. You know, I'm getting more serious about this again, and I want this to be as efficient as possible. So I shut off everything. Absolutely. If you have, I mean, if you have children, you're not going to be able to shut them off. But if you have music and you think, no, I work better with music, try it without, because what I noticed is you're much more efficient without anything playing. In silence, you're much more efficient. And then you can kind of reward yourself at the end. The worst thing I did was I played YouTube videos that had people, you know, doing haul videos showing what they sold. And yeah, I would list something and then watch. I mean, it was really affecting how quickly I was moving. And I'm like, no, this is good because I'm learning at the same time I'm listing. No, I was just listing really slowly. So you're better off listing and just setting a time aside that you can actually go, okay, you know what? I was listing for 6 hours today. Good for me, you know, or 4 hours, whatever that goal is that you have. I'm going to give myself 1 hour to watch YouTube videos, you know, or do research, or set aside times for stuff. Don't try to do things together like I was. Hey, maybe most of you aren't. Maybe this is just me, but it works much better when you set different times for different things instead of doing it at the same time. Don't let yourself slide over to Facebook while you're listing or slide onto YouTube while you're listing. It really does affect what you're doing. Okay, all right, that's all I have about that. So getting into the sales. All right, the first item I have is a vintage rockabilly cardigan. I believe it's from like the 50s or 60s. I'll show you the tag. This was great because this was at a Goodwill sale and it was a 50-cent day. And try to learn as much as you can about vintage items. And the reason I say that is because when they have sales, a lot of times it's the vintage items that get left behind. People know the modern names. You know what I mean? They know the good names and they grab it. But stuff like this sweater, you know, this gets left behind a lot. And this was only 50 cents. And I took a best offer of $35. So definitely keep your eyes out, especially these men's cardigans from like the 50s. They do really well. All right, this is a plaid fashion bug. This is nothing I would look for, but this was new with tags, and it was a nice big size, 26, 28, and it was only $1. So I picked it up at the Salvation Army, and I took a best offer of $15.99. Again, this is the 50-cent sale at Goodwill. This is Anthony Mark Hankins. Never heard of him. But I thought this was really cool. Like the design on this was really interesting. And it had these tails on it. And so I picked it up. It was super clean. It looked like it was brand new. And I looked it up and it does pretty well. So if you see this, certain designs did better by him than others. But I paid 50 cents and it sold for $24.99. Okay, this is Fresh Produce. If you don't know this name, remember it. This sells pretty well. This was really cute. It was a little shift dress, little fish all over it. And it was a nice size. It was an extra large. And I paid $3 for this. It was half off at the Salvation Army, and I took a best offer of $19 for it. All right, this is a pair of Express jeans, jeggings. I paid $1 for this at the Salvation Army, and I took a best offer of $17.99. Okay, this is a Colombian sweater. It had like the quarter zip. It was a 2XL. I think it was cotton. Was it cotton? Yep, it's 100% cotton. It was a nice color. It was super clean. It was 2XL. I'm thinking, oh, it was only $1. I was thinking, oh, this won't be bad. I had it for a year. Nobody wanted this sweater. So eventually I just took a best offer of $12.99. That included shipping. So I only made a few dollars. So if it's Columbia, if it's cotton, I don't know. Maybe it was just this sweater, but it didn't sell very well. Okay, this was a vintage London fog coat, and it had the tags on it. I got this for 50 cents at the Goodwill sale, and I sold it on a best offer of $19.99. Originally, I did try to get more, but it was kind of sitting around, so I kind of just lowered it immediately just to move it out. Okay, this is a Coldwater Creek kitty cardigan. It was really cute. I don't know if you could tell, but the cats are all like fuzzy. It was, I think, I'm not sure what the material was. Oh, it was just a blend of all different materials, including wool. So the cats were all fuzzy. Anything that has cats on it, paw prints, cats, I don't even care what the brand is. They always sell. People are looking for those weird sweaters. And this did pretty well. I paid $3 for it, and I took a best offer of $21. All right, this is a James Horner Bobby Jones Stroke of Genius CD. I picked this up at the Goodwill for $1, and I sold it on a best offer of $10. Okay, this is a women's junior Arizona jeans pants. They were new at tags. I would not buy these if they weren't new at tags. This wouldn't sell otherwise normally. I paid $1 for these at the Salvation Army, and I took a best offer of $22.49. Okay, this was a vintage Calvin Klein leather jacket. Normally this would sell for more, but it had a lot of wear, but it was only $1 at the Salvation Army. So I picked it up anyway, and I said there was, flaws and there was wear, it needed cleaning, and I just put it out for $20. And so what it sold for? Yep, it sold for $19.99. Okay, a pair of Talbot's dress pants. I sell this a lot. If you see Talbot's pants and they're like, between $1 and $3, they sell very well between the $15 to $20 mark. I picked these up for $1 at the Salvation Army, and I sold them for $15. Okay, this was cool. This was a Levi. It was a Levi Authentic, size large pink denim jacket, and obviously nobody wanted this at Goodwill, and surprisingly it made it to the 50-cent sale, which I was delighted when I saw that. And I picked up for 50 cents, and it sold for $29.99. All right, this is a pair of LL Bean duck boots. They were in really nice condition. There you go. So if you see these, I paid $8 for these, full price, and I sold them for $55.99, including shipping. And this is a Ralph Lauren long blue jumper dress. I picked this up at the 50-cent sale, and I picked this up at the 50-cent sale because it had what looked almost like coffee stains right across the front. And I saw it there. I see a lot of things, if you listen to my videos, I see them with stains on them. And normally no one will pick them up, though. It'll make it to the sale day. And depending on the kind of, you could tell if something's like black grease, even I talked about using Folex, Folex, carpet cleaner to remove stains. I'm not saying it's going to remove every stain, but if you have something like that, that stain looks like coffee or something like that, I would say 85% of the time, it's getting that stain out. Sometimes you need to wash it twice to soak it and wash it again. But normally it does get the stain out. And this is great because I paid 50 cents for this. So I paid 50 cents and it sold for $24.99. So definitely think of a way to get those easier to get stains out, because you can always get that stuff at a great price. And if it's a good name, you're going to make some money. Okay, this is a Dress Barn capri denim overalls. And the only reason I got it was the flag. I had that flag on the bib. And this too had stains. This too, I removed the stains on it. And it was only, let me see, it was only 50 cents. And I took a best offer of $16 for it. Okay, this last thing was mine. This is, these were mini discs that I hadn't played in forever. And I kept thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to work with this. I'm going to do this again, play mini discs. And no, I'm not. So I was like, you know what? I need the space. Just get rid of it. So it was just the holder, and it was 26 used mini discs. So if you see these, let me get a better picture. If you see these little mini discs, definitely pick them up, because you might get like something like this with used discs. Somebody doesn't know, they'll have it out in a box for $10. I sold it for $50, and they paid with shipping. What did they pay? $73.04. So they paid a hefty amount for these 26 used mini discs with this one case that they go on. So if you see this, definitely pick it up. Okay, the last couple of things are Etsy. Okay, the first thing I got at a church sale. I bought a handful of these. This is it's a die cast like mini boom box pencil sharpener. There you go. And they were 50 cents a piece. And they sold, this one sold for a grand total, including shipping, of $10.39. The next thing I got at the Salvation Army, they were 99 cents a piece. So say $3 for the batch. And they sold, including shipping, for $24.34. So if you see these, let me get the picture of the tag. This is the tag they have on the back. These little vintage signs, they do very well. So if you see them, I would definitely pick them up. Okay, and last is a Princeton pennant. It was 30 inches by 12. I had this on for a while though. Yeah, I definitely had it on for probably over a year, or about, well, say a year. So if you have it on Etsy for a year, I mean, that's only really 60 cents in listing fees, I think. Right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 60 cents in listing fees. So that's not bad. So I paid $2, say 60 cents, so $2.60 if you include the listing fees. It shipped first class mail, and it sold for a grand total of $23.99. So that's great. So if you see these pennants, some of them, you know, those felt pennants, some of them make pretty good money. So I would definitely take a look at them. All right, that's all I have for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.